Well, welcome Rachel Stott to
Thank
TMS
you,
Classical live and recorded. As our viewers and subscribers to Teesside Music Society are aware, today's concert is going to include the world premiere of your new composition, your Fourth String Quartet, entitled Euphonia. And here we are on the TMS Classical channel just to give you the opportunity to tell us a bit about the piece and what inspired it. So
Sure.
over to you.
Well, first of all, let's say it's wonderful for us all to be here, and it's fantastic that this premiere could go ahead. And thank you very much, Frank,
You're
and
very
all the
welcome.
committee at the Teesside Music Society for making it all happen for us. So the idea for Euphonia came to me some time ago. It was when I was reading about the composer Berlioz and the fact that in his book Evenings in the Orchestra, which is a very entertaining read if any of you don't know it, it's about a group of musicians who play in the pit of an opera orchestra, and most of the time don't think much of the music they're playing, so they pass the time while playing, apparently, telling each other stories. And every night, every evening at the opera, they're telling a different story. And there's one which is called A Story of the Future. And this story is about a city called Euphonia, which is supposedly in the Harz Mountains in Germany. And this takes place in 2344, 500 years after the date that Berlioz was writing.
And a little while away from where we are now.
A little while away, yes, we've got sort of good 300 years to go before we reach the situation described in this city, which is that the entire city is designed to promote music and music alone. So there are, for example, the streets called Cello Street, where all the cellists live, and Soprano Street, where all the sopranos live. And anyone who doesn't play or sing does something else to do with music. They make musical instruments, they manufacture things like the strings for music instruments, or reeds, timpani hides, that kind of thing. So anyone who doesn't sort of have the talent, as it were, or the taste for music, they're given other roles which still further the purpose of music, or they're engraving music or publishing it, whatever. So this is a wonderful place to live, except of course everybody basically has to do what they're told by the Emperor of Germany. And so this is what sort of got me thinking about the possibility that a string quartet of players from this city decide it's all marvellous except we're not free, so they decide to escape. And one of the aspects of life in 2344 which Berlioz imagines, bear in mind this was in 1844 as he's imagining it, is that mankind is now flying the world. But he doesn't imagine them doing it in aeroplanes, he imagines them doing it in hot air balloons, which he calls airships. And so he describes mail balloons that bring the mail down and so forth. So in my imagination, these four string players just happen to notice an unmanned airship, leap aboard and set off on their adventures.
Wonderful. And this is obviously a very, very imaginative undertaking. You've obviously, as you say, got inspiration from, I think, maybe your favourite composer, Berlioz, or certainly one of them.
He's one of them,
Yeah.
Yes. One of them. Yeah.
Apart from that, can you tell us something about the process involved in actually composing a new piece of such imaginative worth?
Yes, sure. I suppose it was in two parts, really. So I'd had the idea at the time that we were putting in applications for funding, which we got from the Ralph Vaughan Williams Trust. And I'd outlined what I had in mind as a string quartet. But the time when I was actually writing it was, in fact, in the spring of this year. So it was affected by the fact that we were all in lockdown at that time. And one thing that changed the piece was the fact that, in fact, the four of us couldn't meet and rehearse at that time. However, we were all in our individual houses able to practice, so I thought it made sense to write the piece in a sequence of a lot of short movements, so as I could sort of send off another movement to people as it was finished, rather than my previous string quartets have either been in the sort of conventional 4 movements or even much longer substantial sections of fewer movements. So that's why this piece ended up in 9 very short movements.
Right, very good. Well, we look forward to hearing it later on today. Rachel Stott, thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank.